Welcome to the best horror films you've never seen, currently streaming on Tubi in February 2021. These films are not new films. They come from various different decades, and they're all representative of a variety of different genres in the main genre of horror. So let's get into it, shall we?
We'll have one job. You do what I say. You clean up my house. Only eat what I've left in my plate. This is your world.
Chained, starring Vincent D'Onofrio. I feel for the 9-year-old boy in this film. He is kidnapped to essentially become a serial killer's protege. The things that are depicted in this film are not only frightening, but they're mind-bending. And what I mean by that is that they really make you think, because you have a child who is raised now in a extremely horrific situation. But the question is, after being raised like that, can they come out and be a good person? Is there any way for them to not be seriously emotionally damaged to the point that they are a threat to other people? This movie makes you think.
You stay.
The Girl Next Door. Now, there's also another movie with the same name that's a comedy. This is not the comedy. This is the horror film that's based off the book by Jack Ketchum, also called The Girl Next Door. Ketchum got the idea for this book from a real-life murder case. It is the Sylvia Likens murder. And the basic premise is that there is a matriarch of a family who has been paid money to take care of this girl and her younger sister. Well, for whatever reason, this matriarch has decided that she does not like the elder daughter. And what does she do with that hatred? She chains her up in the basement and tortures her, and then also coerces her own children and other members of the teens in the neighborhood to torture her as well. And unfortunately, this actually happened, and Sylvia passed away because of the horrific things done to her. The book and the film do not pull any punches. They show exactly what happened. The things that are written down in the court case files.
She was too beautiful to play with boys and too young to play with men. So Alice began to play with death.
Alice, Sweet Alice. Now, this is a very different 70s movie in that it is heavily based on Catholicism and is not about exorcism. The cool thing about this film is that it was a little bit before its time. It features a child being a danger and not an adult. And it's also a bit of a murder mystery because while you see all these murders being committed, there's still a question as to whether or not it's really the little girl doing them. And there's a pretty intense twist at the end that's really, really surprising and entertaining. Spider Baby. Now, this movie stars Lon Chaney as being an older, rather normal uncle, but the stars of this movie are all the very insane children. One of them being Spider Baby herself, who is a little girl who thinks she's a spider and unfortunately kills people. The film is also notable for being one of Sid Haig's first roles in a film. So watch it just for Sid Haig, if anything else, but it's a really, really unique and kind of fun film, actually.
Hobbs is our official coroner mortician. What would you say the cause of death was?
Dead and Buried. Now this movie is one that actually caught me off guard. I had never seen it when I was growing up, which is unusual for a film of the 80s. But when I had heard about it from one of the little extra things on Shudder, I was like, okay, I need to check this out. What I ended up discovering was a very unique and fun zombie movie, believe it or not. That's not what we think of as classic zombies these days. These, bend more toward the traditional type of zombie. But there's some surprises and twists and a little bit of sci-fi mixed in, and it's just an overall good film. Motel Hell. To me, this is one of those fun horror comedies that honestly has a happy point in my life. I first learned about this film actually from my grandmother, who was also a confirmed horror film addict, and she used to tell me ghost stories every week and other creepy things, and so she told me about this movie, and as soon as I could find it at the time on VHS, I watched it. And, I think there's a lot to be said for a director who's never ever directed horror before to be able to create a horror comedy that is this over the top and outrageous without being totally stupid. It is hilarious. The fact that, you have these two cannibals that are killing people to make them into country sausage, and then you have, well, them burying the heads of the people in the garden to somehow age the meat or something while they're still alive. That part's never explained very well, but it's hilarious.
Police.
No, it can't be.
If you're a person who is bothered by snakes, Venom is probably not an easy film for you to watch. Venom is the story of a little boy who is unfortunately very sickly. He has asthma, but it's a severe form. And his grandfather's a zoologist, and he has awakened the love of animals in his grandson. And in order to do that, he gets his grandson lots of different types of animals for him to keep and take care of, which makes the little boy extremely happy. So they decide that they're going to get the little boy a snake, and, everything's going just fine until, well, number one, a group of criminals decide that they're going to try to extort the grandfather out of a large sum of money. And two, the place they order the snake from sends the wrong snake. And it's a black mamba. So they sent a black mamba to a little boy. Well, the criminals try to do their thing, and in the midst of that, the snake arrives, and the little boy wants to open his snake. And so the one female criminal allows him to do so, and then gets attacked. And then, of course, the snake goes about hunting everyone in the house. that brings us to the end of our list. I hope that you've enjoyed going down memory lane of all these, unique horror films that aren't talked about too much. If you like this type of content, please comment down below with other lists of movies you would like us to create. So, until next time,